Do you aim like a noob and want to improve?
Split from 10, smashed it. Oh no!
Are you looking for a crosshair that can carry you to Radiant?
What in God's name is that? I would really like to know what his thought process behind creating that is.
I'm Link, a pro player for Liquid VALORANT, and today we're going to be over the 5 most important things that you need to know about crosshairs. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see me talking about my teammates' crosshairs. Tip number 1, use custom settings. Before we get into the naughty tips, it's really important that you have the rest of your settings configured correctly. First, make sure you have advanced options turned on so you can unlock all the customization that you need to make an OP crosshair. Next, make sure that show players crosshair is on so you can see the rest of your teammates' crazy crosshairs. The next setting is fade crosshair with firing error. This setting is useful because it helps you learn when your spray is becoming inaccurate. Ultimately, this one comes down to personal preference. I've used it on and off here and there in the past, and sometimes I enjoy it and sometimes I don't.
Suck my
And obviously, if you think you're better than everyone else, you can just disable the crosshair and go into games and bang people out like that. Tip 2, choose a contrasting colour. Colour is a vital part of making a good crosshair because it has a big impact on visibility. The most important thing to keep in mind is that your crosshair must stand out from your scenery and your enemies. The most common colours pro players use are white, green and cyan. This is because these colours contrast really well with most of the maps in Valorant. When you've chosen a colour, it's really important it contrasts with the enemy highlight colour. I'd always recommend choosing a highlight colour that is the opposite of your crosshair. For example, if you have a cyan crosshair, make sure your enemy highlight colour is yellow, and if you have white or green crosshair, change your enemy highlight colour to red. If you're still not able to spot your crosshair easily, one last thing that you can do is enabling outlines. This will add a black outline around your crosshair which will separate it from the scenery even more. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see what crosshair colour I use and why. Tip 3. Experiment with different styles. Once you've chosen a colour, you're going to need to figure out what sort of crosshair style you're going to use. There are a couple things that will always stay the same when choosing a style. No pros have movement or recoil error turned on because they're just too distracting. Whilst there are hundreds of different types of crosshairs out there that you can use, they generally fall into 3 different categories. These are the classic, the dot, and the cross. The classic is the most popular crosshair in Valorant. It was very common in CSGO, which is why a lot of the ex-CS pros use it. This is the most customizable crosshair and anyone can find results with it. Next up is the dot. There's not really much to say about this crosshair, so you just gotta go out there and one tap.
Come with me, baby.
Finally, we have the cross. Now this one wasn't used much in CS, and it actually got really popular because it was used by a player called CNED. He was just running around and banging everyone and coming up in the scene, and now he's made it the second most popular crosshair. These aren't the only crosshairs out there. There's a lot of interesting, unique styles that people opt for, and ultimately it's up to you to choose what you're most comfortable with. However, the classic, dot and cross are the most popular, and I would recommend trying these before doing anything more crazy. Tip 4. Use what feels good. I've used a ton of different crosshairs in my career. I've used a dot, I've used a standard, I've used a helicopter. So trust me when I say that the crosshair that is best for you is the one that feels the best when using it. When my famous donut crosshair was on broadcast, people thinking I was playing on a different resolution, people were saying I was trolling, but for me it doesn't really matter how the crosshair looks. I sort of just go into DMs, I just go into the practice range and I just make a crosshair and I just see what feels good. My final tip for you is to try out other pros' crosshairs. Luckily for you guys, I'm going to walk us through the crosshairs that me and my team use. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see what the best crosshair is. First of all, we have Niveria's crosshair. He plays with the classic style crosshair, inner lines 1-2-1-2 with outlines on. This crosshair was made popular by the Gambit player Nats, and loads of people use this crosshair right now. Next up, we have Soulcast's crosshair. He also uses a classic style crosshair, a 1-3-2-2 inner lines, green. This one was influenced by Ye. He's a very, very big fan of Ye, so it's no doubt why he uses this crosshair. Jampy also uses a classic style crosshair. He uses a 1-6-1-2 inner lines white crosshair. This one sort of resembles the ones that he used to use in Counter-Strike way back in the day. Scream uses his famous dot crosshair. It's a cyan dot with center dot thickness 3. He's been using this one for a long time since the beta. Everyone knows him from this crosshair because he's all got them one taps. Finally, we have the best crosshair of them all, which is mine. I have the donut. This one's got precision. This one's got one tap potential. This one's got the recoil control of an absolute legend. This one's going to get you to Radiant if you put this one on. The settings are 1-6-10-2 inner lines. Congratulations, you now have a pro crosshair, but this is only the start of your aim journey. If you want to learn how to put your crosshair to use, check out Scream's aim guide.
Spray, obviously you can forget about this.
See ya.